And g'day guys, welcome to another flight, a recording this time. I decided not to go live with this because X-Plane's been doing a couple of funny things lately with loading, so I'm just going to, I've decided to do this as a recording rather as a live stream. As you can see now, the hourglass keeps popping up as if it's having to keep loading things. Anyway, obviously what you see in front of you is the Saab 340 in the Rex Aviation livery. I'll just explain a few things here. First off, Australia itself is fairly large. Well, it's the smallest continent, or what they call the largest island, and the land area is pretty well much equal to the United States. The only difference is, of course, is the United States has something like about 350 million people, whereas Australia has around about 25 million, and 80% of them live on near to the coast. The east coast in particular is that's where a lot of the population is, and also down the southern part of Australia. Over here in where the aircraft is in Perth, there's that's fair population as well, but it is mainly on the east coast. Now, because of the land area and the low population, it's really only the major big cities that Qantas and Virgin service with their Boeings and Airbuses and a different type of aircraft. They do fly some regional routes, mainly to on the east coast to towns like Rockhampton, Townsville. But when it comes to the regional towns, it seems that Rex Aviation have catered for them more so. And to do that, they have a large fleet of these Saab 340s, which they obtained themselves originally, but since then they've built it up into the third largest airline in Australia. They managed to get a lot of aircraft that were retired from some of the overseas airlines who were shifting over to the likes of ATRs and the Dash 8s and some of the smaller regional jets, so like Boeing 717 Fokkers. So it's been up to Rex basically to fill in the gaps. They have recently expanded into Boeing's B800s to service some of the bigger cities, but mainly the Saab forms the largest part of their fleet. Just out of curiosity, I'm just going to bring up a map of Australia to show the areas that Rex Aviation services, and you'll see up in Queensland they do a lot of inland routes, and they come back down here. Sydney is pretty well their main hub. These routes you see here, that's for where they use the Boeing, but they service a lot of these outback towns and regional areas. So over in West Australia, in Perth is where we're sitting right now, but you can see because of the lower population in Western Australia, they only service 4 towns. One of them is Esperance, and that's where we're going today. You can see Esperance is located at the southern part of West Australia in the Southern Ocean to the south here. Okay, so that's where we're going today. Sembrief have given us a route to take, and what I might just do quickly is because there's resume flight, because they it doesn't have any built-in fuel calculations. We use the default one, the block fuel 3954, so I brought it up to 4,000. Payload weight's about 3.7, so that's done. It says down here flight time 4 hours. Well, it's not going to be 4 hours, but according to this, that's what the aircraft would be capable of doing with the current loading. Okay, resume the flight on that. First thing we do is we get some ground power on. So we hook in the GPU, you can hear it start up I hope, and it'll appear there underneath the right wing. All these static items we can just get rid of for the moment. I'm not going to do a walk around. So they're all gone. So we'll let it chug away. And what we'll do quickly, go inside and fire up the batteries. And turn off our warnings. And what we can do, quickly run through is we're going to do our valve reset for the bleed, the left and right bleed. We drop down here and we put the emergency lights on, or arm them I mean. We make sure the power now is hooked up, and there it is. That sound you hear, of course, you'll hear that a lot during the flight. That's the hydraulics pumping up. We'll turn on our nav. Okay, and we won't do anything more here except up to here. We can flick this over to sorry, we'll leave that on external power. We'll be flicking that over shortly to something else. Alright, so if we look down here, we'll see that our instrumentation isn't alive as yet, even though we've see, I'm having this problem with X-plane reloading, and I don't know why it's doing that. So let's just put our aviation onto instrumentation, and you'll see the lighting comes alive. Yeah, it's doing a lot of this loading up, and I don't know why. Yeah, we'll just battle on. I'm going to turn on our GPS. It's a Garmin 530, which I don't mind using. Okay, this activates it. Well, I've got our flight plan now. I've already put the flight plan in. I loaded this up before and was having trouble with the X-plane doing all these strange little hesitations, so I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed on this. I'll come back to that anyway. So I'll move him out of the way, and what we can do now is while everything is humming away, we will have a look out. We'll open up our passenger door. And drop our stairs. Okay, now we can go outside and we can get some ground handling organised. Okay, here it comes. And we'll open up the cargo holders here on the rear of the aircraft. Now, of course, what happens with this particular aircraft, we don't obviously start up the engines while the passengers are getting on board, and when it comes to actually starting, we have to remember that we start the left engine first. We don't start the right engine because we've got ground handling guys there looking after the GPU and whatever. So while we're inside, we can do a couple of things. We can put on the air for the passengers when get up to 17,000. Now that's going to be our cruising height from Perth over to Esperance, 17,000 feet. That's pretty well standard for what Rex Aviation stick to when it comes to altitude. It'll either be 17 flight level 170 heading east on odd, and heading on evens west. That's usually about 180 flight level 180. What I will do is I'm going to have to set the QNH, so I'm going to be looking at my little map for that to see what the current QNH is. And according to the weather, it's 1020. And it's our hydraulics working away in the background. So we've got the QNH in. We've got our altitude in. We'll set our climb out speed while we're here. And that'll be 140 knots. Good. Everything's right with our GPS. We'll turn that over to GPS though. Let's look outside. I think they're finished loading. Okay. So what we can do is we can get rid of the ground handling. And I can close the cargo door and turn the handle. Jump back inside, and assuming all our passengers are in, we can bring up the stairs. Stow them out of the way. Put the flight attendant seat over there, and we can close the door and lock it. Okay, so that's all done. Go back in here and we'll put on the seatbelt sign, and there's no smoking sign. Okay, now what I'll also do is go back outside and just get rid of the ground handling people altogether, otherwise it gets a bit too noisy. Here we go, much quieter. Alright, so we've reached the point now where we're just about ready to start up. We've still got our GPU hooked up, and the way we can do that is we're now going to bring up our throttle and our prop settings. First off, we've got to capture the little markers there and put the throttles on idle, and with the props we come down and we bring that up to start. Now looking around at the top, everything's looking good at the moment. All our lights are out. We'll deal with some of them later, but there's no reason now why we shouldn't be able to start our left engine first. Come down here, we can watch the temperature rising. And what I should do is, while it's happening, there's that delay again. Look at that. Okay. Don't know why it's doing that. We can turn these fellows off while the engines are firing up. This shaking you see here, there's obviously a bit of a spike in my throttles. That's a common problem with SATEC. Now this should drop right back down, settle down, and we'll get start our right engine. just about settling now. Okay, up, we'll start the right engine. Oh, actually, now the left engine's started. We should have the left engine generator fired up. Now we can do the right engine. Same deal, we drop down here and watch the temperature rise. Now, of course, we could have done a pushback, but not with the GPU attached, obviously. But on this particular aircraft, you can do an APU start. That one will settle down in a minute. See how engine revs are climbing. So jump back up again and we'll turn on the right generator, reset. Now because we've got both generators operating, there's no reason why we need the extra, the GPU anymore. So I'll move this fellow out of the way. Where are we? And we'll do away with that. You see the lights go out there straight away. So we're now running off the generators. All the lights will eventually extinguish. And what we do is we rev up our props up to minimum. And those lights should go out in a minute. We'll put our pitot on. We're going to put on our auto coursing already. And we'll put on our beacon. Now those lights have gone out. Okay, just checking the control panel at the moment. We're going to be going over vertical speed to start. We'll probably, I can use indicated airspeed. I can set the indicated airspeed at, oh look, I'll just put those back on again. Yeah, we can use our indicated airspeed and we can set it at 140 and it will climb out, but I'm going to use climb mode with this aircraft. We'll put our GPU, our GPS on again. Our Garmin's operating nicely now. Okay, that's done. Now we've got to organise it so we can do nose wheel steering, and to do that we push that one down. Okay. Now, will I get pushed back? We'll see how we go. I'll move that out of the way. I could do a turn there, but I'll go over, pick it up now, get better pushback organised. Should have tail nose to the left here.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
We're ready.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
I suppose he's going to bust through the fence to get to us. Here he comes. And while he's hooking up, we'll just slip it aside again because I've got to set up the C-tot down here. Take that up to close to 100%.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
And we're going to leave our ATC at that. I think it's on standby. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's on standby.
Winching strap and adapter in position. Release parking brake when ready to start pushback.
And we can use
starting pushback.
Should show up the Mandu departure. That's it. Hey, this is the one I want to use. So we'll be departing this end at 03 and up and around. So hopefully it's a bit interesting. And here we are here. So we're going to be turning back what you were doing now. We're going to just come down and taxi down taxiway Charlie to the Charlie 11 holding point. So we don't need that anymore at the moment. Taking 2 notches of flaps through.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay, we set the parking brake.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Check out controls, eh?
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
Okay, up we go, and we turn on our taxi lights and our wing light. And let's do the strobe now. Nobody else around, so there we go. And brake off. Okay, props all the way forward now. Up to max. Now the heading for runway 03 is and it's 15 degrees. just get on to Charlie. Be a good idea if I follow the lines. Just looking at something else here that take your mind off, and this is what happens. Okay, look, our runway heading is 16 degrees. And we'll fly runway heading for a little bit, and then we'll probably flick over to nav. There we go, that's set. Again, there's that hydraulic sound. I should by rights be checking behind there. It's pretty hard to get in behind there to see exactly what's happening with the hydraulics, but it's all looking pretty good. Cabin altitude, all of that. So all our lights are off, which is good. I might just turn that sound down a bit, could be drowning me out. I won't be able to tell until later on when I check the recording. Yeah, sometimes that panel just gets a little bit too dark. One of my worst episodes of Taxi. Now if you look down to the right here, you can see my phantom throttles. If I come back too far, it'll go into reverse. See that? Not a very effective reverse on this particular aircraft. I think I saw one comment somewhere from a Real World Pilot who said that all it'll do is stop you from rolling backwards down a very slight incline. Speed it up a bit, eh? I'm having a lot of problems with my mouse today, but anyway. There we go. This they've got a palm tree growing in the middle of the taxiway. fact, I don't think you'd probably see too many palm trees down in Perth Airport. More like subtropical, tropical climate that you'd see those. There's our 2D trees, of course, that hopefully Lamino are going to fix up. Get some shrubs in the taxiway, of course. Yeah, that should be a 2D tree there. Yep. Minute now, she'll tell us we're approaching runway 03. It's our RAFs lady.
Approaching 03.
Thank you. Okay, let's turn on our landing lights, and what we've got to do is arm the CTOT, which is down here. I've got it signed to a
on runway 03,
and sometimes it doesn't work for me. I don't know why, but it doesn't, so we're going to do our best. So what we do now is we speed up and bring the revs up to about 80%. Arm CTOT, and it should take over, I hope. And it looks like it is. And about 110 knots we should be able to take off. Let's hope it works this time. It was a little bit slow there, didn't push the throttles over far enough, but anyway, rotate. Positive rate gear up. That'll stop when the gear's up. Okay, now we can bring on the autopilot, and that should follow the heading. And we can do our climb. We can climb the aircraft by hitting the climb button here. Setting what we would like the aircraft to climb out at, and we'll leave it at 160. We can bring our flaps up and turn off the auto course, and we should be flying quite nicely. Now that we're going to come into our SID, we can go over here and turn on nav. And it should just follow the course. And there we go. And we're starting our turn already. See, we're holding our speed around about that setting at 160. It's getting away from me a little bit. I think it just wants to go. Probably got a bit of a tailwind there, haven't we? I don't know. Now we can also drop down and turn off our CTOT and take this back very slowly. Now we've got a bit of a height restriction here, have we? Let's have a look. I know, it's so long as we're above 4,000, which we are. And now it's starting to climb. 4,000 or above. Don't know what this 2,500 here is. Oh, that's on the outer ring. Down to Swan. Okay. Let's have a look outside. That's Perth. A little bit hazy today. The airport should be back over there. A shame it wasn't a bit clearer. So we're heading down to Mandurah Bar, or in this case it's Mandu for the waypoint, but that's Mandurah down there. Let's have a look and see, we might be able to speed things up a bit. Bring our throttles up a bit further, up to 70, 77, usually 76, 78, 78. That might speed things up a bit. And we can do our climb speed up. We can boost it up a bit. It wants to go a little bit faster than what we set it at. So let's just hit it up to 180. See if she'll climb up to that. Usually what happens is it'll level off, pick up speed, and then start climbing again, which it looks like it's about to do now. There we go, it's starting to climb again. That should be the a bit clearer down there. That should be the Swan River. It looks like the CBD down there. And over to the right here we should have, over here's Fremantle Port. So we'll actually be travelling along the coast for a little while down to Rockingham, and then down to Mandurah, and we'll be doing our left-hand turn and heading off inland. And the next waypoint then will be Canry. And we're coming up to 10,000 feet, which means we're change our QNH over the standard 1013. And I can do that now. Now, if I remember right, our first officers all should be slave to the captains. Yeah, there it is. And our same with our emergency backup, it's automatically slaves, so change that one and they all change. So we're sitting on roughly just a little over 180 knots, coming up now to 10,000. So what we can do is turn off our landing lights, turn off the taxi, leave on the wing lights, seat belts can come off, and that's it. That's on Gen. We can do a bit of circulation in the cabin. Just check out temperatures here. It's a bit cold, eh? It's on 20, so we'll warm things up a little bit. That needle should climb up gradually. Now obviously this aircraft is no rocket when it comes to heading up to its cruising level. You just have to accept that turboprop takes its time. Well, what we can do is we can come back a bit on the props. Now what we're supposed to do is keep them just around about just a little bit here above the 1300, but it's 1300 revs. That's same one there for the left hand side, and we've got our prop PSI. It's on in the green, so it's pretty good. Our engine revs are up here. So our torque settings up there, and we'll be able to bring our engine revs back when we get up to cruising level. Everything's looking okay there, and you can see the spiking that goes on. We do a prop sync too once we get up to flight level 170. And it's more of the coast. So it's probably Rockingham down there. No, actually it's behind us there. That's it down there. So up here to Mandurah we'll be doing our left-hand turn. Drag that one along, see? Okay, here's our turn. Quite a turn, that one. Okie doke, what I might do now is pause it for you guys, so you don't have to travel all the way down to Esperance. But obviously we'll be climbing up to 170 flight level, and I'll come back when we're getting close to our descent into Esperance, and then we're going to look at working out some sort of a VNAV approach, which I do like to use in the 530. I think it's quite handy. And just from looking at things, it looks like we're going to have to do I'm just looking at the runways for Esperance is probably going to be runway 29, which means we're going to have to go downwind past the airport and come back around into runway 29, and we should be able to work out what sort of approach we can do in there. It'll be an RNAV approach. There's no ILS at Esperance because it's too tiny. We could, if we wanted to, we could have done a NDB approach or track down to the airport, but think we'll just stick on the GPS for this particular exercise. Yeah, because this aircraft is fitted with ADF. Just move that out of the way. We've got it here. It's built in with the VOR locator as well. But I think we'll stick to that. There is a VOR transmitter at Esperance, and it's on 114.2. But again, I think we'll just we could track there, but I think I'll just stick to GPS. So we'll leave it at the moment, and I'll come back when we're further down the line. And here we are back again. We're at our cruising height of 170, and we're roughly about up here nearly 90 nautical miles from Esperance. So what we're going to do now is work out exactly our approach, which I have, and I'll just bring down Happy tab. We can have a look at that. So there's no arrival for this airport, but it's a straightforward approach, and runway 29 is the one we're going for. It's at an elevation height of 471 feet, and a final approach course is 290 and coming in this way. So what we have to do is we have to program. Well, I have actually programmed in the approach to the GPS, and we're going to be coming down this way past the airport, hooking into the initial approach fix here at Echo Sierra Papa Echo Delta, and a right hand turn to Echo Sierra Papa Echo India. And we're doing the straight in approach there. I'll just bring that up on I've also got Navigraph charts up, and you can see this is going to be our course. We're going to be coming in this way, and you can actually overlay the approach chart for the runway over the top of this of the course or the route that you're doing, and you'll see that we're heading to the airport here, the runway there, but this is where we need to actually join our initial approach fix, which means that we'll probably come in a little bit north of the airport or the runway, then do a right hand turn. Our initial approach fix is going to be 2,300 feet. Okay, just getting back here, the flight, I've got the flight plan in, and here's our approach. There's Echo Sierra Papa Echo Delta, which is the one we're after. Now, because it's from where we are to there is a straight line all the way in, it's direct to the airport, so what we can do is we can actually activate the approach even out here, which I'll do. Okay, so that just brings us, the aircraft's just moving slightly over to line up with it, and it's still 88 nautical miles from the airport, and actually 87 to our first initial weight approach fix. So what we're going to do now is we need to be at what was it again? It's 3,000. need to be at 2,300 at ESP. Well, actually any one of these, the Echo Sierra Papa Echo Delta or any of these others. So 2,300 feet. Okay, so first off what we're going to do now is go over and let's move this out of the way again, and we'll enter in our initial approach fix right now. It's a slow process this, but that's it, we've got to put up with that. And we'll now go to our VNAV, and we'll need to be at 2,300 MSL. Well, we want to be at that height straight away when we get to that fix, and we now enter in the fix, and it was Echo Sierra Papa Echo Delta. Again, I'm just going to double check that. Echo Sierra Papa Echo Delta. Now we'll do a vertical speed of 1400. And that's already telling us now that we have to begin the descent in 6 minutes and 30 seconds roughly. So we'll just wait until we get close enough. And the other thing I have to double check on is what the QNH is in Esperance. And just looking at my charts, it's 1022, so I'll make a note of that. And our IAF initial approach fix is 2,300. Good. So now all we're going to do is wait until we're given the indication here to begin our descent. Now of course you can adjust the vertical speed profile. This is actually the vertical speed recommendation that's from where we are at this point. So if I decide to descend now, I could descend at 932. That figure changes all the time as we're going down. It's a recommendation. It's hard sometimes to keep up with it, but I'll try to. So we've got another 5 minutes to go out of the way for the moment. Go outside. Still fairly misty sort of atmosphere, climate. That up again. Now what will happen is when we get the command to begin descent, we hit the vertical speed button over here, and then to change our vertical speed rate we use one of these down here, but I find this is a bit of a pain when you've got to keep looking up. So I've assigned it to, it's this one here, you've got to pull it back down. I've assigned it to a button on one of my actual joystick. Of course, because this aircraft doesn't have a auto throttle. We have to manage our own speed. And we always flick back to there to see exactly how far we've got to go. So the distance to that waypoint is still at 61 nautical miles. And of course that hydraulic pump thing keeps happening quite regularly. It's just one of those things you can get quite used to. We've been able to maintain a speed of 180 knots here. Sometimes if we get a good tailwind, although according this is a 40 knot tailwind, sometimes it'll push us up to around about 200, a little bit over sometimes. Now coming up close to a minute, it'll probably kick in a little bit before it gets to zero. And you'll see our vertical descent rate appear up in the top left hand corner. And all you do is, if you, as what I've done, if you program into a button, you just keep clicking the button until it drops down. So there we go, descent target and vertical speed. Up top left hand corner, we bring that to 1400. And you'll notice the speed start to go up. We're now starting to drop. And here's our vertical speed recommendation. You see already it's at 1300. So what I do now is I bring up my tablet for the throttle and the prop, and we drop back to idle descent. And you see it's still maintaining 200 knots. But we don't want to drop anything below that. We can fiddle with the speed as we descend. It'll probably drop back down a bit as we get down. Yeah, you can actually match the vertical speed recommendation, which is what I try and do. I can't get it exact on because it's changing all the time. So for example, now when it gets 1200 feet per minute, I have no idea why that begin descent in 1 minute. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to mean. But if I now adjust the vertical speed myself, I can make that 1200. I just keep it adjusting it as it goes down. Our speed is sitting here around between 180 200, which is okay. We'll bring our prop back up to max because we're on the descent. And just put that out of the way for a moment, that out of the way, and then we'll look outside and you can see where nose down. And we should fly just a few nautical miles north of the airport, so we should see it out to our right hand side. That's if this mist and haze doesn't clear up. If it does, we'll see it, otherwise we won't. The aircraft's we're maintaining that speed quite well. And we are dropping it there's our little over 1,200. So as long as you keep the speed under control, this works quite well. Now you can see we're now down to the close to 1,000 feet per minute, and so I'll bring it down, vertical speed down to match that. And keeping an eye on our speed all the time. And looking at our flight plan now. Can't quite see it there, but you can see where here's we're on the airport here. We're going to just travel up this way and come back down around. Yeah, of course, when we get down 2,300, the speed will drop right off, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And we're coming up in 10,000, so our QNH we can change. That's over to 1022. And what we'll do is get our passengers seated, and we can put on our landing lights. And what we should do, seeing we're on the descent, is we turn on our auto coursing. I probably don't need to turn it on quite so early, but and watching our speed still there, matching okay. And the vertical speed recommendation is down to 840 now, so I'll drop it down to, just move this down. Down to 800. And 8,500, we're coming down okay. Make this fellow a little bit smaller to don't take up too much of the screen. Yeah, outside temperature never got above -10, so I didn't bother about putting on the de-icing up here, which is all up here. Ice protection. You can actually do the props, both left and right prop, left and right engine. It didn't need it. Speed's maintaining well at 180. And the vertical speed recommendations drop down to 700. And so if we look out to the right hand side now, I'll move this out of the way again. We might just catch sight of the airport, the runway. Can't see it there yet. Probably still a bit in front of us here. Not yet. And VNAV's dropped down to, V recommendations down to 600 feet per minute. And we're at the moment we're coming to 5,900. We're coming down. Speed's still good, 180. Now, if I leave my descent rate at what I've got now, which is it's about 1,300. No, it's not that. It's about 1,200 feet. What did I set it last time? Let's have a look. So it's 600 feet a minute. It's saying 455, but if I leave it at 600, it just means we'll probably arrive at that initial approach fix Echo Sierra Papa Echo Delta probably a little bit earlier, but we're not in controlled airspace and we don't have ATC telling us to maintain altitude. We can set our own descent rates and height ourselves. We are going to be a little bit early, so I can actually bring that descent rate down to say 450. That'll still put us a little bit ahead. Yeah, always got to keep that speed inside over here. I usually take this GPS and I move it over to another screen so it's not cluttering up the view, but you can minimise it in size a lot like that. We're dropping down a little bit below our 180, but that's okay. So we've got our 1,000 warning before 2,300, and I've no doubt we are going to arrive a bit early. See there, we've still got that little way to go. We're only 500 feet above our initial approach fix. So you'll see things start to happen shortly. I'll put this out of the way. And the aircraft will level off at 2-3. But the yeah, I did. Put the landing lights on. Now we actually should see the airport a little bit over towards our back there. No, missed it. It's a bit further. It's behind us now. We're dropping off our speed now because we're leveled off. So throttle forward a little bit to keep it up, keep it at about that 160. And so you can see already we've arrived at our initial approach fix earlier than I intended, but that's because I wasn't keeping my eye on these vertical speed recommendations. So watching our speed again, it's dropping off a bit. try and keep it on that 160. Okay, now what we can do while we're just, that's the last bit, we can set our buck to what we want to be approaching the runway on our finals, and I usually like to put it on 110, and I don't like to let the aircraft drop below 110. So we're doing a right hand turn here in a minute. Another 3.5 nautical miles. It's still misty out there, isn't it? Now what I can do also is I can take the aircraft on sync. You should probably slow down on the turn, so we'll watch that. Speed will probably drop off. That's okay, we can take first flap when we drop down to just around about the 150. So we're going into the turnabout now. We'll actually drop our speed off now and come back on the throttle. And I'm going to actually arm the approach now for the glide path. Speed's down, we can take our first flap. Just watching our speed now. Keep it around about 130. And we'll be on our finals very shortly. Let's speed up a bit. And we do the turn, we can take our second flap setting. And all we'll be looking for is for the glide path to activate. And we're getting our LNAV, but of course we're doing on the GNS approach here. And there we are, you can see our buggers lining up for the glide path coming down. And we'll take our next flap. And we're about 4 nautical miles out, so we can leave a little bit longer and drop our gear down to 100, just what's that, 120 knots, and the bug should start to come down, which shows we are below the glide path. And our final approach is 291, so I'll put that into the heading. Just in case. zoom back over here. Our speed's sitting nicely. So we're 2 nautical miles to S ref waypoint. Speed's right. The bug's starting to come down. We should grab the glide slope in a minute. So there we are, we've captured. And we can put our gear down. We don't need this anymore. Drop our speed down because we're descending, she wants to speed up, so we'll come back. We should start to see the runway up here somewhere. And there it is there. That's just an altitude warning, that's all. Come back on the speed. Let's hope she lines up. Some of these glide paths should be right. There it is. And one thing a little bit quirky about this aircraft, when you take it off autopilot, it tends to jump. So and then you've got to deactivate this alarm here as well, so you've got to grab it very quickly, so you'll see it, it'll bounce on me and I'll have to line up. This is when I disconnect the autopilot. Our speed's just looking pretty good. Airport up there, runway up there, we're on short final.
Approaching 29.
Yeah, we are a little bit low. I think it's a bit too low, personally. Yeah, so I'm going to take it off now. See what I mean by jump.
Think rate.
Yeah, she went down too low then. Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about it, is that sudden jump. You can see I'm low. It brought me down a bit. Glide slope just dropped me down a bit too far there. Anyway, we compensate for that. And we take our speed back. I'll take the last flap. There we go. She can be very difficult aircraft to land, this thing. It does tend to come in a lot faster than you imagine.
$5,000 feet remaining. 4,000 remaining.
A little bit wonky with my pedals. It has reverse thrust, but sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate. No, not this time. I'll have to adjust sensitivity on my pedals. And there we are, we're down. We've got to backtrack because everything's up the other end.
On runway 11.
There we go. Now see the reverse activated. You've got to really slam the throttles all the way forward and then come back. Okay, flaps are up. Yeah, I'll have to do something about that. those sensitivity on those throttles. Sorry, on the foot pedals. That's across. That's I can't go down that runway. That's an old runway. So for GA dirt, you see very twitchy on my pedals. Taxi's got to go on there. So welcome to Esperance. And where we're going to pull her in, take our pick, eh? Let's come in here. I think we can do this. That should be about it. A little bit further. Alright, get our handbrake going. And what we do now is we bring up the prop, and what I've found is that for some reason it happens to me, but I don't know if it happens to anyone else, but you can't bring up the ground support GPU. Oh, it worked this time. Yeah, sometimes you've got to bring back the props to minimum before you do that. So we got our ground power on. We don't need this anymore. And we can hit on our external power. It's on, it's available. We take the auto caution off, right, and we turn off our taxi light, we turn off our strobe, and we turn off our beacon, and we can turn off the no smoking seatbelt sign. And then what we do is bring the props all the way back. And really I should have stopped one of these, probably both of them before the GPU came up, because there'd be some guys there. Yeah, what I will do, I think what I might do is I'll disconnect the GPU, and I will lose power, but that's okay. Okay, because I want to do I want to do a replay just to see how bad or good that was. I think the landing was okay, but she was fishtailing down the runway a fair bit. We'll take it from this side. And by the way, we don't get sound with the replay on this. Not quite sure what the reason for that is. There we go, D gear comes down. That's an ortho tile I've got, by the way, around there. Whoops, see, that's when I disconnected the autopilot. It's something I wish they could fix, actually. Maybe there is a solution to it, but I don't know what it is. And down we come. A little bit nose high, a little bit high. Touch down. Nose down, come on, down you come. And this one I was wobbling. Yeah, tail whipping. Let's just go back up here and have a look. So I'm happy with the landing, but not with that. Whoa. Let's have a look at the end of runway 1. Actually, there was a bit of a 3-knot crosswind. Not that that should have had a lot of effect, but anyway. And one quick look from the tower, if you can call it. No, there isn't a tower really. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. And there we are. Back in the aircraft now, everything is off because I don't have any power. So we can put that back on again. And that gives us all our power. All these lights. We can put him back on. Oh, wrong one. Up to 7, here we go. That one off. And just leave the external power on. The batteries are on. Our instruments are back on again, but really we don't need them anymore, so they can come off. And we just leave it at that, although what we can also do is we can let everybody off. And we can also open up the luggage compartment. And there we go. Finito. As I said, welcome to Esperance in Western Australia. I hope that you enjoyed the flight. Oh, I did. I do enjoy flying this particular aircraft, even though it is a prop job, turbo prop. It keeps it busy. So to those all of you who are watching, thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. See ya.